guys, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for the support. I know last time I did a video was almost a year ago, and I talked about self-love at the time, and then I asked you guys for more requests but never really got around to it. This time around, I asked you guys the same thing. A lot of you guys wanted me to talk about my journey and experience through my pregnancy. So I'm super excited to talk about that. I've been meaning to do this for a while but never really got around to it. Been too busy, chaotic. So with that being said, first of all, meet Gabriel. He's knocked out. Oh, look at the little smile. Currently 3 months. So let's talk about him a little bit, okay? So before I got pregnant, I was dealing with endometriosis, which is a disorder of the uterus lining, which causes me like a lot of pain when I'm supposed to be getting my periods, and I was just really irregular. The same day that I went to go see my gynae for a follow-up was the same day that I found out some stuff about my boyfriend, and we took a break at that time. Well, that same day I went to the follow-up and he had told me that I was pregnant. So it was just a whole lot of like, whoa, you know. I was in this belief that I was pregnant because they had told me that it was going to be hard for me to get pregnant in the first place. And I was just in shock. So I went to the store and I bought some pregnancy tests, and it turns out that, yep, I'm pregnant, you know. No, you can see it. So yeah, I still have them. So knowing that I was pregnant and having that break with my boyfriend was really hard, just because you know, at that time I had lost the house where I was living at, so he had taken me in, and I was downstairs sleeping and he was upstairs in his room. So we were separated but still, you know, in the same household, and it was just really hard seeing him and knowing that I was carrying his kid, and not being together and going through this whole emotional thing. It was hard. It hit me really bad. It also got to the point where I was going through some very hard, like, physical pain, you know, dealing with endometriosis and then dealing with my pregnancy, and then it was just bad, to the point where I could not get to the bathroom. I could not get out of bed. My mom gave me a wheelchair, not a wheelchair, a walker with wheels, so I was literally rolling myself to the bathroom. There were points where, like, I was on the floor trying to get to the bathroom or trying to get back to bed, and I was just crying, and there were times where he had to help me, and I refused his help, and it was very difficult on both parts, because he was going through some stuff and I was going through some stuff, and I really wanted to move out of there so bad. I wanted to be as independent as I could, just because, you know, we had that break. And then it turned out that I was having a lot of pain, and then they told me that it was a possibility that I could be having twins. There came a point where I was bleeding, and I had an ultrasound done, and it turned out that, yeah, I was having twins. I had done a blood work and to know the gender, and it turned out that we had a gender reveal party, and I was having 2 boys. We were super excited at the time. And a unanimous decision. And ladies and gentlemen, he will be boys. For the boys, we were creating plans at that time. We were already have reconciled, and we put our, you know, our problems aside, and whatever happened, and we decided to look into the future with our kids. And we decided on naming them Gabriel and Adriel. And super stoked, right? I went to go get benefits from the health department, but I didn't have all the paperwork with me, especially the proof of pregnancy. So I went to another clinic to get that proof of pregnancy real quick, and they only found one when child. And at that time, that really really broke me, just because I was so excited, to have two little boys, and we had already picked out their names, and it was just really hard on me and him as well. But it's just, twins run in our family and my family, I mean, and it was hard. So what we decided to do was take Adriel's middle name, which was going to be Isaiah, and we gave it to Gabriel. Gabriel's middle name was going to be Elios. So we took that away from him, and so now his name is Gabriel Isaiah after his twin. Comprendo que llegó tu tiempo, que Dios te ha llamado para estar a su lado. Así es lo que. It was one thing after another, because right after that happened, I started throwing up constantly. I was super dehydrated. I went to the hospital, and it turns out that I was diagnosed with hyperemesis gravidarum. So hyperemesis gravidarum. Hyperemesis gravidarum is this right here. This is a little chart of what morning sickness is versus what I was diagnosed with, which is HG. Basically, it's severe nausea and vomiting. Whatever I would eat, I would just throw it back up. Even water, I would take a little sip of it, and then here I was throwing it up all over. It got to the point where it was so bad that I was just bedridden. I lost my job. I could not get up for the life of me. It was bad because I felt like throwing up all the time. Sometimes it wouldn't come out, and then I would just be stuck with this empty feeling and this just really really bad pain in my abdomen and pelvic area, and it was just horrible. Constantly throwing up. I could not eat anything, and then people were suggesting me drink ginger ale, and they would suggest I eat crackers or eat food in short periods of times throughout the day, and it became so frustrating because I'm like, it's not your regular morning sickness, it's HG. It's completely different, because even water would make me throw up, and even the hospital couldn't help me, because all they could do was give me bags of saline and sugar water, and they would give me a bunch of medications to take at home. And so I was taking Zofran, and it was not helping. I was taking Phenergan, I was taking Reglan, I was taking, oh my god, I can't even remember the amount of vitamin B6, the amount of medications they gave me, and I just refused to take all of them because some of them gave me anxiety to the point where I was walking up and down, and I was in pain, and it was not helping me. I even wanted to throw myself out the window because it was just that bad of an anxiety attack that I would have. It got to the point where I just had to sit back and deal with it, lay in bed, wait for the feeling of throwing up, and then once I had that feeling, run to the bathroom and throw everything I had up. Outings, going out to eat, going out to the movies, going out to just have fun, going out to a friend's house, even going outside in our backyard to have a bonfire was extremely difficult. It was constant battle of going back and forth to the bathroom. It was just bad. My hospital visits were the same story every time. Same. Keeping you hydrated, sending you homes with medication. It was difficult. But, and this is a hard part that I don't really like to talk about much, and I'm getting emotional already. But it's something that I need to say. Hyperemesis kicked my ass so bad, to a point where I wanted to abort. It got to the point where I wanted to just kill myself because I could not live like that. And got to the point where I couldn't go along with the pregnancy anymore. And I hit that I didn't tell anybody about it. I kept it to myself, and put on a face for everybody, but deep inside it was, I promise, is really just, it did me so wrong. And then I felt so guilty afterwards because seeing my baby after he was born, it was just, that guilt was just eating me alive. Of like thinking like, how could I abort my child, you know? Sorry, I got a little too emotional. But I kept asking myself if I was a good mother. And because of the way I was thinking, the way I was feeling, and it was a very emotional ride. I had to keep reminding myself that it was only temporary, that it was going to go away as soon as he was born. And so I found this group on Facebook with women with the same condition as me, because I felt like I was alone, because nobody would understand what HG was, because like, you guys saw it. It only comes for in only 2% of pregnancies. So they supported me. I kept asking a freaking bunch of questions, and they answered them. And it just seeing how different it is than people telling me, oh, you're fine, it's just morning sickness, or try ginger. Like, ginger ale does not work. But being in that group made my journey a little more easier. Being able to ask questions and have these women support me, knowing what HG was and having themselves go through it. So around 7-ish months pregnant, it started to slow down a little bit. So I was able to go back to work, and it was fine. I was doing okay. Then at 8 months pregnant, I started to swell up on my feet. And not that it was normal, because my mom had gone through it, and a lot of women go through it, But then at my 37-week appointment, they told me that my blood pressure was really high. I was already 2 centimeters dilated, and they had asked me if I wanted to go ahead and try and give birth today. So I'm like, oh, sure, whatever. I was super excited. I wanted to meet my kid, and so on and so on. So they sent me to triage, and they had a nurse there that kept checking me and everything, but I didn't meet the criteria because there were a lot of women supposedly giving birth naturally, and they just wanted me to wait until I was 39 weeks or even 40. But what they didn't know was that my blood pressure was high at the office. It was in the 150s, and my blood pressure runs normally in the 110s, 115-ish. So for me, being in the 115 was extremely high. So they checked my blood pressure again, and I was in the 140s. And then they checked it again, and I was in the 130s. And then they were like, you met the criteria, so you're having a kid today. So then I went in. They broke my water. Holy crap, breaking my water was the freaking worst pain I've ever felt in my freaking life. Super, super bad. And then she asked me if I wanted to do the epidural, and I said no, and she laughed at me. And she's like, girl, if I hurt you that bad just by breaking your water, you're not gonna make it without the epidural. And so I was like, damn, okay. But see, here's the thing. Me and my OB have a very, very special bond. Even with my boyfriend, we would go in and we would joke around, and she's like, she would joke around with us, and it was just really, really fun. So her saying that to me was like, oh shit, I'm like, damn, maybe you're right, And so then they gave me the Pitocin to induce me, and then I was able to go up to 5 centimeters, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'm done. I need it. But I need to get it now. So they came in. I was already crying. I was having major contractions. The anesthesiologist was a freaking bitch though, because I was in the middle of a contraction, and she sorry guys, I had to take my boyfriend's phone call. Where was I? Oh yeah, the anesthesiologist was a fucking bitch. Okay, so I told her that I was having major contractions, and she wanted to go right in And I said, no, can you please wait? Like, you know, I'm in the middle of a freaking contraction right now, and I need you to, like, hold on while I finish the contraction. Well, she didn't fucking listen. And in the middle of a contraction, she went in with the needle, and I freaking moved. So then she yelled at me, and she's like, you need to cooperate, or else I'm not going to come back. I'm going to leave, and I'm not going to come back, is what she said. And I'm like, this fucking bitch. I'm like, are you fucking serious? But I'm over here in so much pain that I couldn't even say anything back. Like, I was literally crying. I told my nurse, like, please let me hold your hand and please let me rest my head, like, on your shoulder. Like, I need this right now. And she said, girl, go ahead. But, oh my God, that fucking bitch, man. I really did not, like her at all. And was the worst experience ever. Well, after that, I knocked the fuck out after the epidural. I slept for like about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and by the time they came back and checked me, I was already 9 centimeters dilated. They left within like 20-30 minutes. They came back again, checked me again, and I was already fully 10 centimeters dilated. But then I had another problem. Half of my cervix was already down, but the other half of it was not. And the other half was where Gabriel was. So he was not coming down, and his heartbeat was going up and down, and it was scary. So then the epidural wore off, and I started having contractions in my back. And they're like, what do you mean you're having it in your back? And I'm like, I'm having it in my back. That's what I'm telling you. Like, the pain is beyond what I could handle. And so then they were worried that he was like face up maybe, and that's why he wasn't coming down, and maybe that he had the cord wrapped around his neck. And so then I can't remember who asked him, if it was my mom or me and my boyfriend or his mom, because it was my mom, his mom, and him in the room. And one of them asked him if they could check in with an ultrasound if that was the case. So then they did, and it turned out that he was indeed face up and had the cord wrapped around, I think, once. And so then she said we were going to have to do an emergency C-section. And I'm like, dude, at this point, I don't give a shit. I just want this kid out. Like, I just want to see my kid. I just want to know he's okay. I want to stop feeling this. And so she's like, you know what? We're just going to push. So, like, I'm over here confused as hell, but, like, I'm in so much pain. Like, I'm literally on my side, holding on to the railing with my eyes closed, screaming for dear life. And, dude, I was screaming for God. In freaking Spanish, too. Like, that's how much pain I was in. Like, I was like, Dios, por favor, ayúdame. Dios, por favor, te necesito, Dios. Like, it was just bad. And, you know, there were points where she would touch, like, my OB would touch me in my back, and I'm like, don't fucking touch me. Don't touch me. She's like, okay, I won't touch you. And there came a point where, like, Will was sitting down, and his mom and my mom were, like, over here, like, holding my hands and trying to rub me, and I'm like, don't touch me. My mom was like, help her, come here, hold her hand. And Will was like, well, no, she said she didn't want to be touched. But he, you know, he did come up here, and he was telling me to be strong, that I could do it, that it was almost over. They gave me more pain medicine. And then my OB was getting ready for his delivery. So then I started to push, and he was coming down slowly, but I guess I wasn't doing a good of a job or something. I don't know, like, because I couldn't feel shit down there. And then so she's like, do you want the mirror? And I'm like, what? Like, a mirror? Like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, if you use the mirror and you see, like, you're gonna be able to naturally push. And I'm over here like, what the fuck? Like, no, I don't want to fucking see. Like, I know I'm good, you know? And she's like, it'll help you, trust me. And I'm like, all right, fine, let's try it. And as soon as I saw his head, I started naturally pushing, and then he came out. And as soon as he came out, I, like, cried my ass off, and I was so excited to hold him, and I was like, my baby, and it was just so emotional.
The lungs. Okay, we're gonna get that out. I'm gonna send the placenta as well.
And then Will cut the umbilical cord, and it was really awesome to see that, because you know, when I was pregnant, he would joke around that he was not gonna be able to see like me deliver Gabriel. He was not going to cut the umbilical cord. Every time he thought about it, every time we talked about it, he would make gagging sounds. He's like, babe, stop, I can't take it, I'm gonna pass out, you know, I'm gonna be holding your hand and somebody else is gonna be holding my hand. And it was just the funniest thing ever. But he was able to do it. He put his feelings aside and everything and cut it, and then they took him away. I heard him cry, and he stopped, and I freaking freaked the fuck out, dude. And I was like, why isn't he crying? And I'm like, because, and they told me, he's like, because he's just looking around. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, he's just opening his eyes, trying to look around and see what's going on. In the video, he looked so freaking funny. Watch. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can see it. Hopefully you can. Hold on. Press play. So this is my little dude trying to just, you know, look around, trying to open his eyes, and it was the most funniest thing I ever heard. And then they didn't cut me. I tore, but it wasn't, you know, how regular women do it or whatever. I mean, you guys know what I mean. I was periurethral, so it's like our urethra is where like we pee from or whatever, and that's where I tore. So I got stitched up and everything, and it was fine. Our hospital stay, well, I delivered him on Wednesday morning, and we left Thursday night. So we were there for, I guess, because he was premature, they had to keep coming in to check his sugar to see how it was, because I believe they said that usually their sugars are either too high or too low. I can't remember what they said. So every 2 hours they would come in and I would have to feed him and so on. But he took it very, very well. He would barely cry when they would poke him. Very, very observant kid. He would try and open his eyes. It was the cutest thing. Thank the Lord that he was not in any monitors, no cords, no incubators, no nothing. Everything went very, very well. I mean, it was a true blessing to just be there a couple, like just 2 days and just get out, you know, and take him home. My journey after that though was a whole mess. That's a whole nother story though, because I had periurethral laceration, so I had stitches, so that whole journey after that was a whole mess. But just in general, my journey with my pregnancy was, you know, having with to deal with, you know, the loss of Adriel, and then being diagnosed with hyperemesis, in and out of the hospitals, dehydration, and then to even add on to this, after I got my labs back, after I had him, it turned out that I had preeclampsia. So I delivered him at the exact time that I needed to, at the right time, I mean, because if it would have gone any further, I mean, who knows what other complications I might have had, right? But man, this little boy put me through a lot, you know, but I don't regret it, honestly, even though I had the feelings that I did, and even with the thoughts that I had, you know. But I mean, I would do it over and over again just to have this little munchkin right here, right? Little chunky cheeks. Because even though I went through with what I went through, it doesn't beat what I have now, you know, and the experiences that I have with this little munchkin. But yeah, guys, oh, tell them, baby, my name is Gabriel Isaiah Coix, right? So Isaiah means God gave me you, so it fits perfectly with what we went through. You know, we're both little strong warriors. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Any other requests that you guys have, send me a message. Otherwise, bye bye. See you guys later.